Okay, well, my name is Nadira. I'm a personal development, life, and impact coach. I actually help women to develop into the women that God has created them to be by creating a community on the Woman of Proverbs app. You can get on Google or the iTunes store.
That's okay. We'll definitely share that information as soon as we get to the end. So you'll be able to give it all to
Okay.
them, okay? So I asked her to come because she read the book. And first I want you to tell the people how you met me.
Okay. Well, it's pretty interesting, and I love talking about how we met. We were actually at a event
Mm-hmm.
where Paul
Mm-hmm.
was talking to the audience about relationships. I did not know he was an author.
Right.
I've never met him before. I've never heard of him before, but I went because I wanted to learn to see if there was anything different that I can apply to my life as far as relationships, being that I am newly single for 4 years now.
Newly at 4 years, not newly. But okay. In woman time, right? In woman time?
Yes.
Okay.
I love it. I just had to say that.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm with you.
So, yeah, so I was really intrigued because when I was there with a friend of mine. She was here visiting from out of town. And our desire was just to see what can we implement, because we realized that dating at this age, in the 40s and 50s, is a lot different than it was in your 20s. So I was a little intrigued to figure out what Paul was going to have to say to address women and men about relationships that we didn't already know.
And I wrote it for just this type of these people where we're at right now, because we have to relearn, because the average person who's been married has been married at least a decade, and then they find out that their relationship's not working. And then when they have to check out that marriage or that long-term relationship, there's no process, no rules, no regulations, and there's no one to help you to move forward. But there's somebody there to victimize you a lot.
Absolutely.
But the purpose of the book is to help people to see that there's a process that you can create, simple and direct, to help you understand what's about to take place between you and somebody else.
Absolutely.
And it's just a great thing. So I had wrote this book a couple of years ago, and I dallied around with it, but I did put some work behind it. And I was at a position that I was kind of feeling it was time to do something. But Nadira, she says, you've got to do something.
Yes.
You've got to share what you've created here, because it's for everybody. And I keep trying to tell people, I believe it's for everybody. Some readers think it's for women, but I believe it's for both. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think, like we discussed in prior conversations before, there's a lot of books written to different genders,
Yes.
but there aren't a lot of books that are written to both genders at the same time.
Mm.
And I think that's important, because I think when you have different perspectives and you have men teaching men one thing, women teaching women another thing, there's still something missing. That's why we have relationships that are still not working, even after being in second and third marriages.
Right.
It's just something is not working. Something is missing. So I think it's important when you kind of discuss the basics of relationship. What makes a relationship function is you.
Right.
Working on you. And that's not something that you normally see discussed. You always see it discussed from a physical standpoint when it comes from men. And from women, we're taught more of the domestic part of it, where there's nobody teaching healthy relationship key things that I thought, which was awesome in the book. So,
well, I wanted to help. For those who don't know, that I've written, this was a series of 6 books that I wrote. I combined it as one, and I called it Be UnDumpable. But my whole purpose on writing books is to help the family. And this is the beginning. The family starts when you meet people.
absolutely.
It doesn't start when you have kids. It's when you start when you meet people, because the result of your meeting could be kids.
That's true.
Now I'm looking at the 40 and older. I know a lot of us are not having kids, but you have children now that you'll be able to pass this information on. Would you share this with your daughters?
Absolutely. I would definitely share it with my sons and my daughter. My daughter's married now, so
Mm-hmm.
she, but I believe even I think this book is not just limited to just one particular generation.
Right.
I think the people that will benefit the most from it is maybe single men and women over the age of 40.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the content in the book is relevant to all generations.
Boom. I appreciate that. And that's exactly what I was trying to do. If I could stop family dysfunction from the start, put a dent in it, because we are responsible for the children that we make. If I could put a dent in it, then we really accomplished something. And that is so necessary. So do you have, do you recommend this book?
Absolutely. I've already suggested, when a friend of mine, when we first went to the event and we heard you speak about relationships in such a way that was so practical, it didn't have a lot of mazes just to be able to get a message across. We felt compelled to read your book right away.
Right. So
And
tell them how fast you read that book.
We read it in 30 minutes.
Oh my!
In the car.
In the car.
Literally.
Matter of fact, we spoke the next day. You said, I've already finished it.
I've already finished it. I was driving.
Uh-huh.
She was reading the book, and I was soaking it up. Like, wow, it's so practical.
It's making my hair stand up.
Like literally, I was driving. She was reading, and I was like, "Is that it?" She
Yes.
was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't." There's only one other person whose book that I read
Mm-hmm.
that was short, that was very straight to the point.
Absolutely. And today's time, we want instant gratification.
Instant
How about
gratification.
instant information?
I like that.
So
like
my
that.
book has gone #1 on Amazon. Best book to read under 90 minutes. Did you know that?
Wow. I'm not surprised.
Best book to read under 90 minutes.
I'm not surprised.
It's power packed. But you can't get the real gist of the book until you really talk to me. How about that? What is it
true.
like?
Actually, you reading the book,
Yes.
I was compelled. I wanted to talk to you because
Right.
there were questions that I didn't even. It's amazing because in our conversations,
Yes.
I didn't realize that talking with you, you were able to pull out even more outside. It's like you were an extension
Okay, right.
to the book.
Right.
So it was like really, I loved it because it was very practical. It was stuff that I can consume, apply,
Mhm.
and change immediately. It's not something that I can read and I have to 5 steps to do this. And it was very practical. And I think the most thing that stood out is that you were talking about the individual first.
Yes.
And to
Not
me,
just
that
the culture of women or just the
right,
culture of
the
men.
individual, male
Absolutely.
and female, and it crossed genders because it wasn't, a man could read a book, the woman could read a book, and both get the same type of response because you're talking about dealing with us as an individual.
That is so.
I never thought the title of the book would, once I read
Oh,
it.
really? Yeah.
When you mentioned it and you said "Be UnDumpable," I thought, here's another book on tactics on this is what I'm gonna do so that you don't dump me. I had no idea
Absolutely.
that it was going to have the information that was there. So I really applaud you for that.
Well, thank you.
That was really awesome.
If you can say for sizzle, my nizzle, I can create a word called undumpable, and that's what we done. So, so what we're going to do, our next segment, we're going to have dialogue. We're just going to talk. But
Okay.
right now, tell everybody where they can find you and anything else you want to share with them.
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn under Woman of Prov. The handle is @ Woman of Prov, PROV, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So, because I know a lot of people have different handles for
Yes.
different ones.
Yeah.
Mine is the same across the board. And you can also look me up on the Google Play platform under Woman of Proverbs. I have an app there where you can find all kinds of things to kind of, enrich your personal walk with God, or if you just want to grow as an individual, we have all kinds of stuff there.
All right. So this has been Nadira and hanging out with Paul Posey.
Yes.
And we'll be back in a few minutes.
All righty.